I do.
Yeah, she's great. There we go.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I think we're live here. Should be getting ready to go live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere on our end. So
Cool.
excited to do this.
Yeah, me too. I love this. I love this stuff. Love spreading the word, man.
Yeah. Do you have any good like New Year's plans? Are you guys traveling at all, or what's your?
I'm taking my youngest. We have a travel trailer, so we're going to go up into the low mountains a couple of days after Christmas and do some very cold fly fishing. So
yeah, there we go. That sounds fun.
With another buddy of mine and his son. So that should be fun. We're looking forward to that. And beyond that, I'm supposed to take my wife somewhere, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But we'll try. Oops.
Yeah. There. Oh, there we go. Got you back. No, yeah, we're figuring out. We're supposed to go to Kansas City for a little bit. My wife's side of the family's out there. I have a bunch of family out there, but we'll figure it out with the three little kiddos. Like I said, they're 5, 3, and 1, so they are very excited about it.
Is that a drive or is that a flight?
It's a drive for us. Yeah, it's only a couple hours from St. Louis. Yeah, like 4 hours.
That's not bad. 4 hours.
Yeah, we're pushing. Just
you get the minivan, you put the headphones on, and your wife's back with the kids.
I was going to say the kids are good at entertaining themselves, luckily. But
yeah, electronics are more advanced now than they were when my kids were kids.
Well, I love people jumping in already. Keep keep saying hi. Throw in the chat where you're calling in from. Happy almost holidays for everybody. Hopefully, you don't have too much ahead of you between now and holidays and New Year's and all that stuff. I'm already had people jumping in saying that's my guy Mark the GOAT. Love hearing that. So gonna have a great time with Mark today.
Yeah.
So again, for today,
I didn't get my lunch. Where's the lunch? The lunch.
Oh no, didn't.
Yeah.
Well, what time is it? 10 o'clock right now for you over there?
Yeah, but I get up more hours, so it's really lunchtime for me. So
next time. There we go. But
empty bowl.
Perfect. You're prepared. Yeah, so people feel free to jump in, ask questions. Again, Mark's phenomenal. Like he can answer really anything, honestly anything in real estate investing. I think you could speak on some kind of experience you've had. But I'll
guess real good.
Yeah, there we go. So I'll do a quick intro for Mark here. We'll obviously want to make this interactive so community can ask questions throughout. But again, excited to have a special lunch and learn edition with Mark here today. So
Thanks,
quick
Matt.
bio. Yeah. And appreciate your time as well, Mark. But quick bio on you too. I know you have 25 plus years as a contractor. You have over 12 years as a flipper and landlord in Southern California. And then that you and your wife have flipped over 400 homes and have 40 units of your own as well. So you can really speak to,
we just sold 16 of those units. And we just haven't redeployed it yet, but yeah, we've sold that, and it was the right time to get rid of that asset, and we're going to deploy that into something twice as big. So we're working on that deal right now. So
yeah, there we go. I might ask you a little bit about that too then, but
sure.
Yeah. And then outside of that too, you're a phenomenal educator too. Like you're putting out great content on, you've got everything from your social media, variety of different channels. You've got your course that you guys have. So you have a many different ways that you're sharing the knowledge, spreading the wealth there with people. And, again, appreciate you doing that with our community too.
Thanks, Matt.
Awesome. To kind of begin with, could you maybe tell people more about how you got into real estate investing, your first deal you did, a little bit more on your journey?
Absolutely. So, I was a contractor, and my wife was a contractor before the big recession. And we both had a lot of work and both made real good money as a job, as a day-to-day job. We both made very good money. We were okay savers, not investors at all. Under our own home, the whole 9 yards. And then the recession hit and the discretionary income dried up. So the people that did the stuff we did, at that time I was actually doing, strangely enough, decorative koi ponds, and she was doing landscaping. So before that I was a a regular builder. You know, I built apartments and houses and did commercial and all that stuff. And then I just chanced into this one thing, and we made a really, really nice living from it, and which is consequently how I met my wife. So 2007, things are booming. People are borrowing money from their house to put in $20,000 koi ponds. Life is going well. And, you know, I had no idea what was going on in real estate. I'd bought 4 houses before that, but just for me. So that hits, all of our construction gets canceled for the most part. A lot of the people that we were in the middle of stopped paying. I mean, people just pulled their heads back into their shells like turtles. And we pretty much lost everything at that point. And we really had no firm direction on which way to go, because I had been a contractor. I'm, you know, and I'm not putting myself down, but I was, for the most part, uneducated. I'm self-taught. Didn't really do college. Barely got out of high school. Not saying that to say that, you know, I had a disadvantage, because I had a great advantage. I had other skills. But that's where I started. That was my base. And so there were no jobs available really that you can go find then. Everybody was out of work. And anyway, long story short, as we were losing things, I kind of discovered real estate. And it wasn't that I discovered it. I was just desperate to find something that would work. And someone told me about an investment club, and I went, and I thought, well, anybody can do this. And I did. And, you know, it took a couple of years. I think we made 30 grand the first 2 years. Really, that was, and I was doing repo work for the bank other than that. And you was running the back office, my wife, and putting in offers and just doing an amazing amount of work, you know, 16, 18-hour days. And after 2 years, we finally figured it out. Our first flip was a mobile home that we bought for $100. Sorry, I almost said too much. I said 10 times more than I got. We bought a mobile home for $100, and we flipped that and made like 13 or 14 grand. I tell this story so often, you would think that I would have that exact number, but and then the next 2 mobile homes we did, we lost money on, and then we finally did a house and basically broke even on that one. And then we did another house and made about 30 grand. And after that, we kind of figured out how the whole thing worked. So it was a 2-year learning process. So during those 2 years, we were still broke. It's still broke. And, you know, I was doing odd jobs on the side to supplement our income and whatnot. But, you know, a two-year crash course in real estate. And then, you know, we made a lot of mistakes after that. So many expensive mistakes. In fact, I just got paperwork back from a foreclosure that we had put a bunch of money into some deals in Hawaii, and the developer fled the island. He took on too many projects, couldn't handle it, and fled the island. And so the foreclosure paperwork just came through. So we got foreclosed on. Our second position loan got foreclosed on, which is okay. I'd written that off a couple of years ago. But yesterday we officially lost $200,000 on that deal, which I stroked a check for 2 years ago. And guess what? I had the ability to stroke a $200,000 check so I could pay my investors back. So that is the, I don't know, what do you call it? The power of real estate. You know, you would have told me that 12 years ago that I could stroke a check for 200 grand to cover a loss. I would have just said some very choice things to you. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And then, you know, after that, we got into flipping houses here, buying a lot of properties for ourselves. Well, a lot. I mean, you see a lot of people on Instagram and YouTube that have many, many more properties than us, but I would say we're average investors. And then we ended up doing about 300 flips in Memphis, Tennessee, with another friend of ours, basically doing turnkey flips. And that went really well until it didn't. It got too crowded out there. So we pulled out of Memphis, and then we've done probably another 150 flips since then during that time here in Southern California and Hawaii.
Wow. Yeah,
I think
quite a journey.
That's it.
That's all. Yeah. That's quite a journey, Mark. I think
oh God, yeah, it's been great though.
Yeah, no kidding. So, you've got plenty you can talk on there. I think,
Yes.
I already see a question coming through on the chat here. So again, feel free to jump in there. We'll hear where all you're tuning in from, and especially your experience level as an investor to tell us if you're, if you're trying to do that first deal or if you're trying to get better at what you're doing. So that way we can tailor our questions, more effectively there for you. But
that really does help, because a lot of people ask questions. We don't know where you're at in your journey. And keep in mind, my first 2 years of this journey were, I can feel you. So, there's nothing to be embarrassed about as far as asking questions. There's no silly questions.
Yeah, agreed. So I'll start here. Kay Shaw coming in here said, what are some cheaper upgrades you can do to a house before selling it to increase the cost? Not every upgrade is great ROI, in my opinion. So are there some lower hanging fruit of great ROI for fixing?
There's a lot of low hanging fruit for that. So right now, especially, look at your area and see what. So I look at houses in 3 different ways, and you let me know if I'm answering these questions too long. I look at rehab houses when I'm comping. I look at move-in ready, meaning, it's been redone somewhat over the years and it's clean, but it's not redone, right? And then just pieces of crap, the fixtures that we're all looking for as flippers. So on the fixers, the real big fixers, you're going to have to do more. The low hanging fruit on that right now is doing the vinyl planking flooring throughout the house, rather than doing tile in the kitchen, tile in the bathrooms. That'll save you a ton of money right there. If you can get away with keeping the windows, if you can find something with a decent roof right now, I know this is getting recorded and I know it's going to go out, but this is December of 2021 right now. And the market we're in, and we'll see another market like this, but the market we're in right now, you can actually do less and get more. So don't overdo your flip. Wherever you can save money, and I know that's the question you're asking, but can you paint the cabinets and just put in countertops and change the sink? There's so many different ways to do this game. Do you need to look at your comps? Do you really need to put in an HVAC system? Do you have to put in a complete closed system, or can you just put in a wall heater? Look at your comps and see what everything else is selling for. Look very closely. If you can go look out at a rehabbed house, that's great. But better yet, look at the rehabbed houses on Redfin and find out which ones are in your area. Look at the rehab they did. Look at the listing price. Look at what it sold for. Look at the days on market. And that will give you all the information you need. If it sold in 60 days, then maybe it wasn't quite right. But if in 4 or 5 days, and you look and they painted the cabinets, they kept the 15-year-old roof. They have a wall heater. They didn't change out the windows. They did a lot of painting, and they may have even staged it to hide some of the blemishes. You can do all of these things, but look at what's going on around you and don't do more than everybody else is doing. That is the best way to save money. And if you don't have anything around there, as far as a flip to look at the move-in ready houses and see if you can get your house up to snuff on that, like carpet, paint, fixtures. So that's one thing that you can, there's so much of that going on right now. We call it prehabbing, where you just go in and simply replace some of the flooring or all the flooring or refinish the floors, paint, and do doorknobs and faucets and light fixtures. And, your average house is going to cost you less than 20 grand to do that. And I know in the Midwest, you're going to say, well, that's ridiculous. But yeah, in California, the prices are so ridiculous as far as labor. Yeah. So you might be able to spend $10,000 on a 1,000 square foot house to do all that. I don't know. But look at look at what's selling around you, compare yours to theirs, and don't do any more than that. You don't have to.
That's a great formula. Yeah. Yeah, I think, within the Deal Machine app, we have a comps feature as well. You won't get necessarily all of that data that you just mentioned, but that could also be something that's going to be helpful for you too,
Absolutely.
especially if you're talking to people on the spot. So,
especially if you're out driving for dollars, you can do a real quick and dirty number with Deal Machine. So by all means, use that. Use the tools you've got. You're paying for that. Use it. Redfin is just one of those things we do a little bit deeper comps on, because most of you don't have MLS, but yes, use Deal Machine for that. My guys do. They're out in the field. They're sitting in front of the house. They can look and see how big it is. They can make a list of what needs to be done. All the information's there. You just click on it. It's crazy, ridiculous. I wish I had that 10 years ago when we're driving around Then you got this long list of houses. You've got to do all the research when you get back. And the great thing about deal, and I'll go on one more thing about Deal Machine. The great thing about that is it eliminates the BS, right? So you're going to go out and look at 100 houses a day. And instead of taking all those 100 houses back to the office, you'll eliminate 90 of them, or you'll eliminate 50 of them. And then that's all you have to do the deeper dive on. And that's what's great about it. It's going to tell you how much they owe. It's going to tell you the bedroom count, the square footage. You can look at the house and see what's there. So you can eliminate a lot of those right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate the shout out too. But I know, we're here to, like you said, give you technology to make what you're doing more effective, more efficient. You guys put in the hard work. You were the one grinding without, being able to do that back, like you said, 5-10 years ago.
I mean, we were riding horses around and it was rough.
I love it. So yeah, you get, it still takes hard work. You still got to put in the time, but now you've got tools to help you out. So
it's same day, different market. Or same market, but different day. So now you're probably going to have to go through more deals to find a deal. But, because technology has made things easier, there's more people out there doing it, but the technology makes up for it. So I guess the point is behind that statement is if you're not using technology, you are screwing yourself, because if you're doing it strictly the old-fashioned way, it can be done, but it's twice the amount of time than using technology. So, and as everybody knows out there, Deal Machine's the one thing I suggest you get if you don't have anything else. If that's all the money you've got, then by far the best investment you can make. All right.
Yeah. Love it. And like you said, using technology is what's going to give you that leg up. So, great. You got another question here from Facebook. What kind of external signs do you look for while driving for dollars in neighborhoods that don't have, like, obviously boarded up houses like that?
Okay, so it's, gosh, I mean, I've done so many videos on this, and it's because it's such a great question. And, I do this on the way to work quite often. Just hit a neighborhood, take the long way in, run out of gas in my Volkswagen, those kinds of things.
Yeah, you're saying that.
So my favorite thing to find is a blue tarp on the roof, especially if it's flapping in the wind and tattered. And I know that's cliche almost in the real estate business, but that's a pretty good indication they don't have enough money to fix their roof, or they're so cheap that they're not going to fix it. And you'll have to find out when you talk to them if that's the case. Not only unlandscaped in the front yard, but weeds, overgrowth, maybe cars, maybe trash. You to the point where you can't see the house very well because of overgrowth. Asphalt driveway, especially here in Southern California, they're pretty rare now. An asphalt driveway is an indication that someone has been there a really, really long time. Cars, late model cars that, I'm just going to say it, would look like an older person would drive it. Buicks, older Honda Accords, things like that, on flat or semi-flat tires that are very dusty. A lot of times people can't drive anymore. And I remember when I took my mom and dad's keys away from them at separate times, their car sat in the driveway for a while until we got them sold. Well, thankfully, it was pretty quick, but some of these people just let it sit there until it rots. That's a great indication that someone in the house is old and probably moving on to the next period of their life, whether it's assisted living or even a higher cause, shall we say. That's another one. Ramps in the front of the house would be good. Original windows. Almost everybody, it seems like, because there's so many salespeople out there selling windows, almost everybody's gone to vinyl windows now. And if they've got the original windows, that's a good indication. Paint, fascia, fascia, those are the boards that are right, the roof comes down like this and the fascia boards are right below, and the gutters hang off that fascia. So drooping fascia, gutters falling off, that's a good indication. Anything that looks like they can't afford to fix it or they've just given up. Evidence of hoarding, if you can see inside the window, foil on the windows. Gosh, I could just go on and on. And really, the perfect house has at least 3 of those items, right? So you look at one and it's got a bad roof. My house has an old roof. You know why? Because I know construction, and I know that, it doesn't look that great, but it's towards the end of its life right now. But, when I bought the house 20 years ago, it was still old, but I knew I could get another 20 years out of it just because I know. And that might not necessarily mean that it's a bad house, but you get 3 of those items, and it could mean that. And look for despair. Like I said, people tend to stop caring when they have financial issues. It's just the way it is. Their brain's not on it. So look for things that look like that. Mail piled up in the front of the door. They don't want to look at it. Cars on flat tires because they can't afford to fix them. The blue tarps. The yard that's not taken care of anymore. Anyway, hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think when you initially said that too, of hey, you take a different route to get to work, or you're trying different ways around town.
Yes.
Like that's something we consistently see with Deal Machine members that are really successful landing multiple deals. Is like they're always on and they're driving around. And like for example, Ramen, we just interviewed him on our YouTube channel. He got a deal in his first trial with us, and which can't expect that first 7 days get a deal.
No,
that's not
you don't know.
normal. So I was going to say, don't, but it does happen. It does happen where he was driving around. He had his, had his investor cap on at all times, and found the deal on the way to getting a haircut. So like, it can definitely happen.
Well, the one thing you got to remember when you're looking around for deals, yes, good chance somebody else has seen that, but the day that you contact that person might be the day they really need you. And the day the other person contacted them might not be the day they needed them. So people tend to go with what's convenient at that time. And you have to hit. That's why this job is, 9 parts hard work and 1 part good and luck, because you have to hit those people on the day they need you, or you have to stay in touch with them long enough to where they don't want to deal with anybody else. So that's one of those things. You just have to be out. Yeah, you got to be out there so much to get those deals so that you can hit those people when they need it.
Yeah, follow-up is absolutely key. I mean, that's something that we also see being most successful members. They're doing a combination of like something to quickly get in touch with them, like a call, a door knock, a text, email, whatever, and then they're doing something long-term to nurture that touch point and be able to send mailers automatically and do things like that where they're staying top of mind, because it might be a qualified lead, but it might be something that they're ready to sell, like you said, in a week, in a month, and 6 months, over a year. It could be a while. So if you're the one they think of right away, you're going to win that deal.
Well, and that's what's so important about the postcards too, is I'm sure everybody on here has heard the stories about someone, maybe a parent passing away, and the kids go, to the house and they find that postcard on the refrigerator with a magnet on it, or sitting next to the telephone. Yes, older people still have telephones. And that's really powerful. When you think about, you spend, even $500 a month on postcards, which is a lot of money to start with. And I'm not suggesting you do that. If you've got it, do it. But if you don't. You can use the Deal Machine app without the postcards to begin with. You just get started. But I hear it over and over and over. And we've gotten those calls before. It's like, my mom passed away and she's got this postcard next to her phone, and we are looking to sell the house. And it doesn't always work out, but look, your chances increase all the time when you do that stuff. It's a numbers game. Totally a numbers game.
Yeah, in the end, it's a numbers game, 100% like that. So again, for everybody, feel free to chime in, tell us where you're watching from, tell us what level of investor you are, if you've done a deal or not. If you're looking to scale, we can provide more strategies on that too. Mark has plenty of experience there. And we've had a couple of really good questions come in already. We'll keep this interactive throughout, but on my end, I've got plenty of questions as well. One to begin with, Mark, I know you said like, hey, you don't necessarily recommend spending the $5K right away on the mailer, which I agree with that. And you guys have a course on landing a deal within your first $1,000. Like, what do you do with that? How do you do it on a budget? Can you maybe start that off for people, like how to find the deal, all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's, you can use Deal Machine to vet houses, and that is probably the least expensive thing you can do. And then you can simply skip trace and make phone calls, and you can spend $1,000 and get a deal, but you're going to have to put in more work, right? You're going to have to put in a lot more work. Every deal is going to take a lot of work, but if you want to get a deal for $1,000, like we teach, you're going to have to actually put in a lot more work. because simply you can't reach as many people, right? So typically what we tell people to do is drive half the day. And when you see a real estate sign, call the agent, and you're not necessarily going to get that house, but let them know who you are. So it's more than a single prong approach. You're going to use Deal Machine to find houses that look like crap, and then you're going to call real estate agents in the area and get to know them. And you're going to tell them, hey, look, I don't know if this is a good fit for us or not. And by the way, guys, this is a golden tip for those of you that don't have the budget to do a lot of postcards to begin with. Because once you can do postcards, I want you to do a lot of that. That tends to have a good ROI. But if you don't have that money, you've got to make relationships with people that can bring you leads to begin with. And it's more labor intensive, but it's very important. So you're going to ask those real estate agents, hey, look, I don't know if this deal is going to work because it's a pretty nice house. But I was wondering if you had anything in the pipeline coming up that might be something I would be looking for. I'm looking for major fixers that people don't want to have people coming through the house. And you can give them your criteria. And, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, no, I don't have anything like that. But now you've got a friend, and hopefully you've been friendly on the phone. And you can end the phone call with, hey, hope you don't mind, but I'm just going to touch bases every 15, 20 days just to remind you that I'm alive, I'm here, and I'm a hungry buyer just in case something pops up. I want to stay front of mind. Nice to meet you, and good luck on your listing. This is one of the ones when you're just beginning that is going to be a game changer for you. And I know it sounds really, really simple, but it works. The other portion of your time, which is going to be the most of your time, is just simply driving and looking for houses and building your list of houses that you're going to market to. The easiest, least expensive thing you can do is call them. You can skip trace the numbers and call them and knock on the doors, right? Labor intensive, a lot of time, way more labor intensive than a postcard campaign. But I'm assuming you don't have that money to do that to begin with. So I love this question because it is one of the most often asked questions. It's like, Mark, I'm dying to get started. I don't know what to do. So the way I got started was going to mobile home parks and talking to the managers and just becoming friends with them. Typically, if there's any mobile home park managers on here, sorry about the stereotype, but typically they're older gals that are used to people bitching all the time, right? So I go in there super friendly, start talking to them, kind of tell them, yeah, I'm kind of a local guy here, and I'm looking for deals. And it's the same thing, guys. You're going to have to put the time and effort in to begin with, and then you can start your marketing campaign. Then you're going to take a portion of every deal you get. We're talking about scaling up now. A portion of every deal you get, you're going to put that aside for marketing until you've got enough to start a marketing campaign. So.
Love that.
There we go.
Yeah. Boom. There you go. Very, very easy or very actionable. Simple, but not easy. How about that?
Yeah. It's very simple. Very simple.
Do you, when it comes to the door knocking and cold calls and all that, can you maybe talk through how to stand out, how to build a relationship with sellers, how, tips on how to succeed with that?
Empathy. Yeah. Maybe a little sympathy thrown in, but most people want to be heard. So don't be like me. When I'm on the phone with somebody, I'm a little bit different. Right now, it's like Mark just won't shut up, right? And if you've seen my videos and things like that, I just talk and talk and talk. But that's not me when I'm talking to somebody, a potential client on the phone, because and I don't do it that often anymore. I've got a team now, but that's when you need to be a listener. You need to listen for clues, right? So when I'm talking to people, I'm listening to what their pain point is, right? And that is, in a nutshell, all you need to find out in the beginning. You got to find out why they want to sell, which is their pain point. My husband passed away. The house is too big. My kids live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I want to move it. I want to move there with them. And I just can't afford this house anymore. Or my mom and dad passed away, and I've got this house. I live in New York, and it's in California, and I don't even know what to do. So you got to find the pain point, and that's the way I talk to people. I talk to them with empathy. It's like, oh my gosh, please don't make the mistake of comparing your shit with. Sorry, don't make the mistake of comparing your situation with their situation. They're not interested. They're not, as much as you might think they want to hear about your stuff going on too, they don't. All they want to do is talk about themselves. Because, I mean, keep in mind, the sweetest word to anybody's ears is their own name. So it kind of lends itself to the fact that they're going to want to talk about themselves the most and what their situation is and what their pain is. Let them do it. Let them do it. Empathize.
Yes.
Be somewhat sympathetic. And just let it go that way. It's a natural conversation. So many people push this conversation so hard. And we do start off with scripts, just to get people going. But the one thing we really try to do is wean people off the script as soon as possible so that you can freestyle. And just you really, really need to open up your ears and shut your mouth. So you're going to do 20% of the talking, they're going to do 80.
I mean, that's a great tip for any sales job. Yeah, that's
for sure.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it's you're problem solving. You're trying to let them talk. You're taking a very genuine mindset of like being actually, truly interested in what they have to say. And all those things go a really, really long way. So
people can tell if you're not truthful too.
For
if
sure.
you act like you care and you don't, there's going to be people out there that are oblivious to that, but there's going to be people that absolutely understand that you really don't care. So you better care. Learn to care.
Especially door knocking. Like so much of communication is nonverbal, Yeah,
so, it's here in the hands and everything else. So, don't cross your arms. Don't put your hands behind your back. You're hiding something. You're closed off. Don't do any of that stuff. You're an open book. Your hands are down at your side. You need to be open to what they're saying. They need to feel physically like you're open. So don't push it. Don't push the doors. People aren't really thrilled about opening a door to begin with. So don't push your agenda on them at the beginning. Yeah.
Great tips. Troy chimed in great points there too. So and again, anybody feel free to chime in with your own questions. I've got plenty for Mark as well, but would love to say where you're watching from, your level of
I'd love to hear where people are from too. Yeah, that'd be great.
So one question I had, we have plenty of people who are listening to this who are wholesaling or, they're trying to do that first wholesale deal. Can you talk about kind of the other side of the marketplace, dealing with, potential investor cash buyers and, walk us through your process of how to find them, how to communicate with them, all of that?
Oh, I'm not going to give you all my secrets, bud.
Just be an open book. Here we go, Mark.
When we first started, it might not always be the highest quality buyer, but we found so many buyers on Facebook groups, local investor groups, and those led us to bigger investors. And we've actually gotten some good buyers from there too. But that was a good one. Another good one is looking at people who have flipped houses in the area that you want to work in. You can check title and see who bought it and find out who that is and give them a call or go knock on their door. Oftentimes it's an LLC or something. It's hard to find out who it is, but there's always some sort of a mailing address, and we'll knock doors for that. Really, there's nothing better than finding someone that's actually flipped something in your area, because obviously they're buyers. Right. A lot of you out there are beginning and you want to be on buyers lists, but you're not quite qualified, and you're not. You just want to see the deals coming in so you can kind of get an idea of it, and you've got to figure out a way to. It's going to sound horrible, but it was the same thing when I started. You're going to have to find out a way to figure out who's a real buyer and who's somebody watching, getting ready to buy. Right? Because you don't know when they're going to start buying. So you've got to treat them well. But we've actually gotten to the point now where we vet our buyers and we actually make them qualify before we'll put them on our list. Reason being is as a wholesaler, and this isn't, so if you're a flipper just beginning, look, get on as many lists as you can. But there's going to be wholesalers in the area that will not let you get on their list just simply because they don't want to deal with a newbie. So, align yourself with someone who's got some experience if you're going to do that. But typically, when we put somebody on our list, we make sure that they've actually done flips before and they've got funding, and we ask what their funding is. So when we put it out, we've got our preferred list, and then we've got our secondary list that it goes out to. If it doesn't sell to our preferred list for whatever reason, we'll send it out to the secondary list, and it usually sells at that point.
Nice.
Did I answer that question?
Yeah. Yeah, I know within the Deal Machine app too, a couple quick pro tips.
Yes.
One, for anybody on even the starter plan, you get access to our sales page functionality. So whenever you do close that first contract or lock up that first deal, when you mark that property as under contract, it will automatically generate a landing page for you. And that landing page you can customize to show pictures, to show info on the house, to put any contact info. We make that really easy, so that way you can blast that out to your cash buyers list. And then also make you look very very credible, very professional doing that, versus a newbie who you want to be able to project that confidence that they can do a deal with you. And then you can also actually sort by corporate owned in terms of properties around you within Deal Machine too. So use that functionality to be able to pull a list of LLCs, and they might own multiple properties and be a great cash buyer that way too. So
yeah,
have a couple of ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize for not bringing that up. It's just you guys have so many things going on there.
Yeah, I can. We're always bringing out new stuff. Like every 2 weeks, we have an update from our development team. So that's one thing. If you look within the app store, jump on there. You'll see like updates. It'll list out here's when the app's been updated, and you'll see. That's constantly happening. So I wouldn't expect you to keep up with all of them, but
no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody in my organization knows about all of these things, but keep in mind, it's lonely at the top.
Fair. You've got a lot going on. So. Right. One thing I did want to touch on, I know you mentioned at the beginning of just that 2-year process of getting started and being broke and going through that. I know we have people who are just getting started. It says Troy from Baltimore just getting started. What was helpful for you to get through that? Like, do you have any advice or words of wisdom from that?
You can make it much easier now. At the time, there wasn't so much information available, and people would say, well, yeah, there was less competition, but not really. During that time when we got started, everybody was buying houses. You heard back to 2009, 2010, people weren't buying anything. Well, then why was it that everything I wanted to buy back then, why were there multiple offers on all these foreclosure homes? There was so much competition. People think that those were the golden days, and they were good. Don't get me wrong, but people think those were the golden days. But it was still hard back then, but you don't have to go through that 2-year stretch of non-profitability. You can do it so much quicker now. We started off wholesaling, and then quickly went to flipping because we thought that was the way to go. If I had to do it all over again and talk to my then much younger self, I would say, stick with wholesaling for a while, build up your war chest, make sure you got dry powder. What other war terms can I use here? Build up your cash and build up your private money investors, build up your hard money and lenders, build up your company and get going, get moving. But you can make money much quicker now because there's so much information at your fingertips. I literally put out over 1,000 videos on how to run this business on Instagram and YouTube. And you got to take the time to go through it. I get a lot of requests for specific things. And it's like, guys, I don't even know how to use it. There is no search function on Instagram, and there is one on YouTube, but you just kind of have to go in there and look, because I get 100 requests a day for stuff like that. And I don't have time to send videos. I wish I did, but I don't. But the information is free at your fingertips. Now, I'll gladly teach you very quickly for a fee, but you don't have to spend money. You can do this on your own without any money. I don't think that you've got to pay for a course. I'm glad if you do, because you'll fast track it. You'll learn whatever you need to know very quickly, but none of it makes any damn difference if you don't put the effort into it. And that goes back to your question is, what would I say to people? If you're going to do this, jump off the deep end and do it. Don't go and dip your toe in and go in the shallow end, walk down step by step and submerge your body over 45 minutes. Just jump in and do it. Start putting in the time. Start driving for dollars. I mean, anybody can do that. Walking for dollars, riding your bike for dollars. It doesn't matter how you do it. Just do it and get moving. Get moving and start doing some of the little tips that we've given you today. And if you want more, go to my channels. If you want more, Matt does these interviews all the time with other investors. There's so much information out there. And really, we're all saying the same things for the most part. There's different nuances. But, as long as the person's real, don't start following people that aren't real, that have Lamborghinis are cool. But, if that's what they're all about, then it's probably not going to be for you. Truly. Mm-hmm. Look at someone that's really doing it, that's really closing deals, and then that's always the best criterion. I don't care who it is. Just make sure they're doing it. There's so many good, successful people out there. That's how you can really, really shorten up that learning curve.
Yep. Yeah. Luckily, I mean, we've got your time today. So if you have really specific questions, jump in the chat and start asking them. We're also, like you said, Mark, I mean, you guys have, you have your course and you've got so much you put out on social media that is fantastic. You want to support yourself. Feel free to ask questions now, but in the meantime, you're putting out so many good things there that I'd highly, highly recommend checking out Mark's content on Instagram, YouTube, pretty much you guys are pretty much every channel there. So, yeah. And then outside of that too, I mean, I know 2022 is coming up. Like you said, no better time than now to make that cliche resolution, get out there and take action.
I totally agree, Matt. But this is one of those times of year where people are making their. I'm going to plug in my computer. This is one of those times of year where people are making resolutions and making plans for the new year, and work's kind of slowing down a little bit. People are partying a lot, having a good time. Take advantage of this time. Get started now. There's no reason to wait till the new year. This is one of those things. If you feel really strongly doing, do it now. Don't say I'm getting losing weight. Yeah, January 31st is when I'm going to stop eating a bunch of crap, and November 3rd is the day I'm going to go to the gym. Go to the gym right now. If that is hitting you right now, then you should go right now. Don't put off starting in real estate. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. There's no getting ready. There's no immerse yourself in it. I think Allie put together a starter packet for people too. And I don't mean to do a shameless plug, but this is something that's free. This is something that's free. You go to a link in my bio and download the starter package. And I know there's videos in there on how to get started. There's lists on what to do and checklists and things. It's free. We're not asking for anything other than these are all the questions that people ask on a daily basis of how to get started. And that's why we put it together. We did it to help you, but we did it to help us too, so that we can just say, just go there, download that and get started. You can make so much forward motion, just get so much forward motion going before the first of the year, just because of the time that you've got right now. The time between Christmas and New Year's, everybody's just sitting around drinking and getting fat.
Yeah.
Don't drink, don't get fat. Just start doing real estate. Learn it.
Yeah. Yeah. You may not have, you might have some time off work. You might have time to get out there and start taking action. And like you said, I mean, really the biggest thing for us that separates people who are Deal Machine members and they've done, for example, Ryan Haywood, he did 170 deals with us so far in a year and a half. People like that compared to, the newbie who just gets out there and, tries it out, but doesn't put in the work and might give up too early. The difference is taking action and consistently doing it, sticking with it and being able to get to that first deal.
Oh God. And go back to that real quick.
Yeah.
Sticking with it. Find something and stick with it. We've made, I'm sorry to interrupt, but one of the issues I've got, because I've done it so many times in my life, is I've started something and gone all in. Oh, it's not working after a month. I'm going to try something else. And you've got to stick with this. You've got to stick with a method and just be 100% into it. And don't try 17 methods. All right. Just find one that works or one that you think is going to work and just go for it. That's probably the biggest downfall. Stopping, period, or stopping what you're doing to go on to the next best thing, because there's so many neat things out there that cost money.
Yeah. Yeah. The shiny object syndrome. I mean, for sure. Like you said, it's, the information's out there. The playbooks are out there. You can, I try to bring people on like yourself, Mark, that are going to give you the simple steps to be able to execute. It's just a matter of putting in that work. And, we want to give you technology to make that as simple and easy as possible and as effective as possible, but you got to get out there and use it and put in the work like that. So
every day.
I love to see Troy getting in there too, saying he's looking to make a new life for me and my family in 2022. Thanks for the inspiration. Troy, best of luck. Anything that we can do, follow Mark. He's putting out great stuff. On my end, just matt@dealmachine.com. I'll make sure our team's here to be able to be helpful in any way possible. So, we want to help you achieve your goals for 2022 as well.
You can do it. I went from pretty well off to really, really broke in a very quick speedy amount of time because of lack of investing. And this has provided a great lifestyle for my family and myself. We live a pretty darn good, comfortable life now. And it's because of real estate. So.
That's great. I know we're running out of time here. So if anybody has any other, last questions, please get them in the chat. Would love to be able to have you take advantage of Mark's time here. He's been super, super helpful and, grateful for your time to be able to talk to our whole community about this stuff. But
yeah, I love this.
I know one thing I get into, well, I guess two different things. One was the Memphis deal. I know you said that you guys had kind of found an equation that was working for our more advanced investors. Can you maybe talk to the lessons you learned there, how people can find that system, how to scale that up? Anything you can share there?
I would suggest not going that route personally. Turnkey is, I like to call it the gift that keeps on giving. It's profitable and it serves the purpose for people that don't have a lot of time to invest. But unfortunately, when you decide you don't want to do it anymore, you still have to provide service and everything to the people that have purchased from you previously. And unfortunately, it never stops. So, all these years later, since we pulled out of Memphis, it's been a few years now. I've still got someone that works the majority of the day taking care of those folks, or my ex-partner, Matt, his name is Matt too. This person's still employed taking care of those clients. So I would strongly suggest, if you really want to scale up your business, you have to do what I call the 3 pillars. And that's so when you do real estate investing, some of it's a job and some of it's income that's going to keep coming in for the rest of your life, residual income. And the job part is wholesaling and flipping, right? So you need that. That's the fuel to get your vehicle across the, whatever you call the retirement line, or whatever you want to call your goal. And, investing the money that you make is the other part of the equation. So you've got to make money on one hand, right? You got your income over here, and you got your retirement money that you're going to invest into cash flowing assets. So that is the way to scale your business. The way to scale your business is there's an end to the means, right? Or means to the end. You've got to find what you want to do and move towards the goal that way. So I like to see people scaling up their wholesaling business and their flipping business. Now, a lot of people get involved in investing and don't ever do any of that and do great. If you want to do it a little bit faster, do all of it. Do all of it. You will be able to scale your business so much faster if you've got an income on one side and you're investing on the other. I strongly suggest doing that. I figured that out after, 4 or 5 years, and I have not hit it as hard as I could. I'm comfortable, but I certainly could have done a lot more because of how much money I made flipping and wholesaling. So that's how to scale.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, having that foundation, and then also you're playing the short-term and long-term game there. Very smart. So a couple of last questions that came here. Naked Truth Family said, I have a deal machine and would like to have a package deal that includes mentorship to make money with Deal Machine. Here's my email, just Matt. I know I mentioned it before, just matt@dealmachine.com. We're doing some end of year promo type stuff where we're able to come in and be able to provide more one-on-one coaching around how to use Deal Machine best, and have our customer success team that's really involved there to be able to give you guys the guidance you need on how to use the app and how to land those deals. So feel free to reach out to me, my email. I can provide more info on our kind of end of year, sale type stuff. And it's, some stuff that we just want to make sure we help set you guys up for success in the new year. But feel free to reach out to me directly and be a resource there. And then let's see, Troy had one final question as well. As a new investor, what things should we be aware of to protect ourselves from liability?
Liability is a funny thing because it doesn't matter what you do, there's liability, right? So Troy, let's just start off with that real quick. Driving down the road is liability. Sending your kids to school can be a liability. Having your kids kids bring their friends over to your house to play is a liability. So everything's a liability. And I think a lot of people focus on that, and it's smart, Troy. It truly is a smart thing, but don't let it cloud what you're doing. So a couple of things that you can do in the beginning, there's really not a ton you can do because, quite frankly, you don't have anything most people don't have anything to keep safe. Now, if you have money and you want to keep that safe, you can start an LLC. We hold our properties in an LLC and we flip and wholesale in an S corp. So if you want to set up that stuff, that's great. You don't need to begin with. As you're going down the road, you can get liability insurance. You can get errors and omissions insurance for your contracts. You can get an umbrella policy, a liability umbrella policy, so that if you've got some sort of a claim that comes in, say you own a piece of property and you've got a $100,000 limit or $1 million limit on your liability claims, you can get an umbrella policy for not very much money that will cover you for an extra $2 or $3 million above and beyond that. And if you have the corporate veil arranged correctly, whether it's an LLC or an S corp, that also helps a lot. But really, honestly, in the beginning, and I'm not blowing you off on this, please do not think that, Troy. When you're starting in the beginning, you just need to start and let those things fall into place. Be aware of it, study it, understand it, just like you have to understand tax law when you start doing this a little bit too. But don't let that be the thing like, okay, I've got to get this done and this done and this done and this done. Then I'm going to start looking. Start looking, and as things happen, get this done. Then get this done. I can't say it enough. I see too many people getting things set up. And again, Troy, I'm not telling you that you're doing that. I'm taking this moment in time to expound on what you're asking. Don't let that be the stopping point for you. Move forward every single day and set up systems as you go. Everybody that sets up systems beforehand that I've seen, I'd say 95% of them don't stick with it because they get too bogged down in the systems, and then they realize they're spending $1,000 a month and they haven't even gotten started. So just be careful with that.
Yeah, and Troy, another resource for you as well. We've had on Garrett Sutton, on our channels a couple times. And he's an attorney within real estate investing space and talks a lot about LLCs and things like that. So, feel free to look that up on our YouTube channel too. And that should be a helpful resource for you.
Excellent advice. Yes. You'll need attorney. Yeah. You'll need an attorney that you can trust eventually, for sure.
All right. Last question for me. I know we only have a minute or two here. I know one thing that I often hear from people is like, when's the right time to get in the market? What's 2022's housing market going to look like? That's a common hesitation for people. Yes. So can you maybe elaborate on what your thoughts are there when people bring that up?
I agree with everything everybody's saying right now. Let me say that up front, because I get a lot of things that's like, I'm not going to buy anything right now. I'm going to wait for it to crash. Or I'm buying right now because I'm buying right. Or I just want to get into the game. Guys, I agree with all of that. If you're buying right and the product cash flows, you're going to be okay. Even if the market does go down, you should be safe, because I've seen the market go up and down even in the last 12 years, And it's like watching your stock portfolio, right? If you watch it all the time, you tend not to ever do anything. It's like, oh God, it's going to go up. Oh, it's going to go down. I better wait. Real estate's the same way. Get in the game. Get in the game. And I know, bring it on. But a lot of people disagree with that, and that's fine. Everybody has opinions. My opinion, after doing this as long as I have to get in. But if you're buying it right, in other words, I'm not buying properties at retail. I'm just not doing it. When we buy a property at 70% of value, typically, or less. And how do we do that? We just make a lot of offers. We have a lot of offers going on, just like we did when we first started, right? So if you buy right, it's a good time to buy. If you buy it full retail, I'm good luck. Good luck. It's not the way the game's played. You never buy it full retail, even when the market's down. You're still going to ask for a discount, right? And make sure that it cash flows, guys. Use my simple 40% rule just to get started. 40% rule says that if I've got $1,000 a month in rent coming in, all right, I deduct 40% of that for expenses, taxes, insurance, upkeep, management, utilities, capital expenditures, all that stuff. All right. And then I take my debt service. And so I've got $400 in the 40% rule, and my debt service is another $400. That leaves me $200 of cash flow, right? So I want to make sure it cash flows sufficiently. Is $200 a month enough? I like to see at least 3 on a unit, but if 200 floats your boat, that's fine. But you've got to also be getting the property at a good discount, right? So if the markets do fluctuate, you're safe. That's it. That's really that simple. I really, in 2 minutes, basically covered the credo of investing. Buy right, make sure it cash flows. Double check your numbers and don't fudge them. Don't bend them up like this. Well, maybe nothing's going to go wrong that first year. Maybe the interest rate will be a little bit less, or I'll refi next year when the interest rates go up, right? Don't do that. Don't push your numbers. If they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. Don't fall in love with the deal.
That's great advice to leave on. And, again, Mark, really, really appreciate your time. Glad you could get everybody fired up for 2022. Don't wait till 2022. Get out there, take action now. We learned that. But really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Matt.
Awesome. Well, have a great holidays, everybody. Again, this is Matt Camp with Deal Machine, and happy deal finding.
Yeah. Peace.